Good afternoon. My name is Jerry. I'm from DASYD do as Yeshua did, here in Alberta, Canada. I hope the following teaching about the order of Melchizedek will help somebody better understand what it's talking about in the scriptures. It's a very brief teaching, but I think a rather important one. Melchizedek was the king of Salem. Shalem is the root word from which we get the word shalom in Hebrew, and shalom means a lot in Hebrew. It was the term used at the time of Abraham. Melchizedek means king of righteousness in Hebrew. Salem was the original name of Jerusalem. Jerusalem means city of peace. The king of righteousness is the city of peace, or the king of peace. Hebrews 7, 1-2. This Melchizedek, king of Shalem, a Cohen of God, Elyon, met Abraham on his way back from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him. And also Abraham gave him 1/10 of everything. Now, first of all, by translation of his name, he is the king of righteousness. And then he is also the king of Shalem, which means king of peace. Genesis 14, 18-20. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. Now he was a priest of Yah Most High. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of Yah Most High, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be Yah Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. And he gave them 1/10 of all. Here we see the type or origin of the body and the blood of Yeshua, long before the Messiah was ever talked about. Melchizedek was the origin of the order of Melchizedek, and Yeshua was the final in the line of the order thousands of years later. Notice the similarity here to the blessing given on Shabbat in most Torah-observant Jewish homes to this day. Blessed are you, O Adonai, King of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth. It also reminds us of what Yeshua said at Calvary. This is my body, broken for you. The order of Melchizedek is totally separate from the Levitical priesthood. It was in place prior to the Great Flood. The order usually followed the family line with the eldest son. In some cases, this could not be, for another son stood in line as per righteousness requires. The line of the order of Melchizedek starts with Adam. Adam was the one responsible for teaching the words of the Torah to all his succeeding generations on the earth at that time. Adam taught these instructions long before they were delivered through Moses at Mount Sinai. You could say that this is one of the reasons Adam lived to be 930 years old. Adam's son Cain killed Abel, so the priestly duties were passed down to his son Seth. Then it was passed down to Enosh, Canaan, and Mahalalel, Jared, and on to Methuselah at the time of the flood. Methuselah's name meant, when he dies, it comes. After the flood, it was passed down to Noah, then Shem, who killed Nimrod. Heber, Isaac, was the firstborn, according to promise, to Jacob, not firstborn, but Esau sold his birthright to Jacob. Because Jacob's son Reuben was not righteous, he slept with Jacob's wife. The order was then split into two, one being Joseph, the eldest, and the other being Judah, from whom the scepter will not depart. The order of Melchizedek splits with Joseph and Judah and will not be restored until Yeshua comes back as the high priest of the order of Melchizedek. Psalm 110, verse 4. Yahweh has sworn and will not change his mind. Thou art a priest forever, according to the order of Melchizedek. Hebrews 5:6. Just as he says also in another passage, Thou art a priest forever, according to the order of Melchizedek. Hebrews 5:10. Being designated by Yah as a high priest according to the order of Melchizedek. A few more verses in Hebrews 2 that talk about that. Hebrews 7:1, 7:10-11, 7:15, 7:17. Anyways, Jacob was the 12th in the line from Melchizedek, and he had 12 sons. Genesis 48:5-6. And now your 2 sons, who were born to you in the land of Egypt, before I came to you in Egypt, are mine. Ephraim and Manasseh shall be mine, as Reuben and Simeon are. But your offspring that have been born after them shall be yours. They shall be called by the names of their brothers in their inheritance. Jacob adopted Joseph's 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, at this time. Genesis 48:16. The angel who had redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, and may my name live on in them, and the names of my fathers Abram and Isaac, and may they grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. Jacob blessed these 2 and set the blessings into motion. Genesis 48:19. But his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He also shall become a people, and he also shall be great. However, his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his descendants shall become a multitude of nations. The multitude of nations referred to here is the Goyim, the Gentiles. The fullness of the Gentiles, Goyim, would come. If you recall, Shaul, or Paul, referred to the same thing many years later as recorded in Romans 11:25. For I do not want, brethren, to be uninformed of this mystery. I do not want you, brethren, to be uninformed of this mystery, lest you be wise in your own estimation, that partial hardening has happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles has come in. Hebrews 7:3. Without father, without mother, without genealogy, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like the Son of God, he remains a priest perpetually. The Melchizedek priesthood, with Yeshua as head, was the ultimate priesthood. The Levitical and Aaronic priesthoods were simply shadows of the Melchizedek priesthood. There's an interesting passage in the book of Joshua that talks about the people in the cities of refuge being set free from prison only after the high priest of that time died. Joshua 20, verse 6. And he shall dwell in that city until he stands before the congregation for judgment, until the death of the one who is high priest in those days. Then the manslayer shall return to his own city and to his own house, to the city from which he fled. Now, people living in a city of refuge, what we now call a prison, were bound to stay there until the appointed high priest of that time died. Here we see another type of Messiah, Yeshua. Yeshua is the high priest of the order of Melchizedek, who died for us so that we could be set free from prison, the city of refuge, so that we can be delivered from Egypt, the world we live in. Hence, we are born again, and we make Exodus. All these things are so beautifully connected. Born again is so multiple times in the scriptures. We see Isaiah, the great prophet, foretelling of Yeshua coming one day as the high priest of the order of Melchizedek to set the prisoners free. Remember, Yeshua was coming for a reason. There were many reasons for his coming. Basically, he was our Redeemer. But there are many other things that we need to focus on. One of them is very well known in Isaiah 61:1. The Spirit of Yahweh is upon me, because Yahweh has anointed me to bring good news to the afflicted. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to captives and freedom to prisoners. What a beautiful thematic connection. It just never stops when we look at his words. They're all thematically connected. Those who claim the Old Testament is of no use anymore miss out on everything the Word has to offer because of their spiritual rebellion. One can't help feel sorry for those New Testament so-called Christians. The thematic connections in our scriptures are from the beginning to the end. There are types and shadows, thematic connections throughout our scriptures, whether it's Joseph as a thematic connection to Yeshua, whether it's Moses, whether it's Daniel. There are all kinds of thematic connections that we need to understand, just like born again, making Exodus in Genesis in the beginning, making Exodus when Dad returns someday, making Exodus from this world, returning, going to his world, our heaven. Have a great day. Shalom.